Hey, what's going on, folks? Good morning. Larry at Packmasters Dog Training here. Let's take the time to answer a few questions that I received this weekend. I'm trying to be better about answering questions on video because some of you guys, that's what you wanted, even though I believe most people are going to find it extremely boring. But let's get right to the point. One of the questions a bunch of you folks keep asking is about tools. What tools I prefer, what do I use during training? Well, I'm pretty simple, okay? Of course, most people know I'm a big e-collar guy. I use e-collars on every single dog I train that's at least 5 or 6 months old and above. I don't put e-collars on puppies. But again, I don't teach anything with the e-collar. I teach nothing, okay? So please, let's get that straight. I teach everything through motivation, through positive reinforcement, everything. I teach nothing with e-collars. So when I first start working with the dogs, it's pretty simple. I use a leash, I use a flat buckle collar, and I use food. Pretty simple and pretty boring, right? I'm asked about prong collars. How come I don't use prong collars? Well, I just don't like them. I don't have a problem with them. I'm not against them. If you like using prong collars, hey, that's fantastic. I don't use them. Most of the dogs that come in with them have been trained with them already improperly, and for me, there's no benefit in using a prong collar. So it leads to the next question is about teaching loose leash walking, and that's usually where the prong collar questions come into play. Well, I don't teach the dogs I train how to walk nicely on a loose leash. I don't teach it. I don't teach that. They just do it, and I'll explain to you a little further. I know a lot of people, first thing they do is they put a prong collar on the dog and they teach it how to walk next to them, and that's, hey, that's fine, not a problem. It's just not what I do, okay? So I want the dog to want to walk next to me. I don't want to force anything, okay? That's not how I train. So everything I do with a dog is to build the dog up, and I want the dog to want to do for me, okay? Once the dog knows how to do, then he has to do if I request it. But when I say I don't teach loose leash walking, I don't. What I do is I normally don't go for that first walk when I'm training a dog with a board and train till at least day 4 or 5, okay? So we have a good 4 or 5 days of training, building the foundation, and building that relationship, okay, before I ever go for a walk. And then when I go for a walk, what happens is the dog just stays with me. Sometimes it might take as much as, the dog goes to go ahead or off to the side, and I just really tell him, no, that's not what I want, and I put him where I want him. He's still on a leash and a flat buckle collar. And they get it right away, and then they really don't want to leave your side, okay? It's that simple, and I've shown that over and over. So for the folks that do it complete opposite of me, there's nothing wrong with that. And what it comes down to is you have to find what works for you, okay? Whatever works for you is great. I've been doing this for a very long time. You've never seen me use a prong collar on a dog, ever. And again, it's just not my tool of choice, which leads into another question I get about aggression cases. Some of you folks say, well, I never really see you correct aggression. I really don't, okay? I don't use a lot of corrections, at least up front with aggression cases. I'll give you an example. I've made a couple of videos with in-home aggression cases, which for me, I don't think there's anything more difficult than working a case where 2 dogs in the same home are trying to kill each other. So I've tried to document a couple of those cases, and there's a video I did. It's a terrible video, but I kind of gave you an example where I'm talking about constructional aggression treatment. Constructional aggression treatment. That's a hard thing to say. But I just did a quick little example, and the case was it was a big German Shepherd Malinois mix, and it was a little I forget what kind of dog it was, like a Bichon or a Shih Tzu or something, a little tiny dog, and they lived in the same home, and that Mally German Shepherd mix hated that dog. That dog would have killed that dog in a heartbeat. And so when I say I don't correct aggression, I've talked about this so many times, guys. The things I did with that dog, which they became fine with each other, of course, but if I was to take that Mally mix and just implement some real harsh corrections when he would blow up and try to get to that dog, it may work for a while. It may work. But when those dogs are in the house and someone's not paying attention, do you think that that's going to last? Hell no. That dog's going to kill that dog. I guarantee it. There's no doubt in my mind. I've seen it over and over and over. So my goal when I'm working with aggression cases, which for a long time, that's all I did, because people thought that's all I did, and that wasn't the case. So my whole goal is to not stop the behavior with aggressions, but instead to change the mindset of the dog, okay? To truly take the aggression away, to take it out to where it's not there. So, you know, a lot of times what happens, yes, the corrections are implemented in aggression cases. They are harsh, and you see wonderful things happen real quick. But what I've experienced many times over the years, because I wind up getting these dogs eventually, believe me, I get a lot of them. What happens is, yeah, for that moment, it's like, ooh, that dog who got corrected and wants to get to the other dog or person is like, son of a bitch, that did not feel good. I'm going to stop that right now. But when this motherfucker isn't around to do that, oh, I'll take care of business. You understand what I'm saying? Sorry about the language. But that's the way I see things. So I think most of you guys know I've had tremendous success with some really shitty aggression cases, you know. And again, I get a lot of in-home aggression, and there's nothing worse. But as I've said before in the past with the cases you guys have seen, that's a small part that has to do with me, and that comes on the owners. That's where that success comes. Teaching the owners how to keep things going and how to change things, and you know, they're the ones who have to change the lifestyle habit. So yes, you won't see me give a lot of corrections. If I do, it's usually on the back end. Okay, so, and remember, I'm not a purely positive trainer. I'm not anti-corrections. But if it was that easy, okay, think about this. If you want to stop a behavior, if just implementing some harsh corrections got rid of aggression, would you really need a dog trainer? We wouldn't exist. Anyone can do it, okay? You want to stop digging, counter surfing, jumping on people? Absolutely. You know, one good hard correction fixes that stuff very fast. You know, those are behaviors. Those are learned behaviors. But when you have something that, in the dog world, that it's upstairs in the mind, and it really affects the dog's, you know, thinking process, you got to change that thinking process. And most of the times, just implementing a correction isn't enough. You know, there's a lot of little things that go into truly changing that around for real success. But again, that's just me, guys. You're asking me what I do. Those are the things that I do. Those are the things that I believe. You could take it or leave it. But when it all comes down to it, you have to do what you're comfortable with and what works for you. And as long as it's working and things are going well, then keep doing it. And we all do our own thing, and hope that everyone has a ton of success out there. All right, folks? Peace.